Hey guys, Cookie here with another Monster Hunter Wilds video. After completing the main story, I now have a decent feel of which weapons work in different situations. I would say that there really is no bad weapon in the game. The weapons overall are very balanced as far as how good they can be. It really just depends on an individual's playstyle. It also matters how experienced of a player you are, and if you're new to the game in any way, or are looking to try a different fighting style and want to know where to start. It also matters just how experienced of a player you are. If you are new to the game in any way, or are looking to try a different fighting style and want to know where to start, then this video is for you. I'm going to be showing 6 weapons that are ideal for beginners to the game and introduce a few different styles of fighting to a player so that they can find the style that works best for them. Also, different monsters are obviously going to change your playstyle, so this can help you discover new ones. Now, I want to make clear that this is not a ranking video. These are just some weapons that I think are ideal for beginners and will help you get into the game. A weapons ranking list may happen in the future, but for now, these are just good weapons for someone starting out. The first one is probably one of the most simple and the most classic for Monster Hunter. It's the Great Sword. The Great Sword is ideal for beginners because it's very, very simple. It only has a couple of moves and doesn't require a bunch of button mashing to pull off cool combos. In fact, one of the cooler combos just entails you to hit the same button multiple times in a row. The Great Sword can hit really, really hard and do significant damage with just a couple of hits. Its downside is mobility, which is very limited. This weapon does a great job showing off a specific playstyle of a hard-hitting tank. It also comes with a guard ability, which will help take some of the damage the monster is dishing out. A build like this can pair well with armor that gives extra defense to make you even tankier, or maybe an evade window so you can get better at dodging. Anything with extra mobility will help too, to minimize the one major downside of this weapon. It's all based on how you play it. So if you're into tanking and delivering major blows to an enemy, start out with the Great Sword. Next up is something more akin to a little bit of mobility and a little bit of hard hitting. That's the Sword and Shield. The Sword and Shield is perfect for a more balanced approach to Monster Hunter Wilds. This weapon allows you to do a little bit of everything. Unlike the Great Sword, it has great mobility, so you can dodge much easier and be very quick darting around the monster. However, it also comes with a shield, so you can take damage and block intermittently as you're dealing damage. Even if there's a lot of things you can't block with the shield, it is able to take some of that damage. As far as dealing damage, it's effective at that as well. You can deal some pretty big blows as well as a lot of DPS blows that whittle away at a monster's health. Starting out with a balanced weapon like this gives you a lot of flexibility for armor pairings. You could make yourself a mobile force, a tank, a damage dealer. It's whatever you want. I actually would probably recommend the Sword and Shield the most to a brand new player because of all that flexibility. It's perfect for a new player so that they can learn what they like to do. The Sword and Shield also has the unique privilege of being the only weapon that you don't have to sheath in order to use items, so it is a really good starting plan. Now for a fun stunner of a weapon, it's the hammer. The hammer is ideal for stunning and does a pretty good job of opening up wounds too. Its big bash can be clicked again and again and again, and if it's not stopped, it will continue to do more and more and more damage. Breaking heads of monsters is easiest with this weapon because a lot of monsters may not be able to react to what you're doing in time before you've already done significant damage, thanks to the stunning. I would say hammers are a bit more complicated than the Great Sword, but not by much. So if you want something slightly more advanced than the Great Sword that does something similar, the hammer could be what you're looking for. In a lot of ways, they are like a mobile version of the Great Sword. The hammer also does significant damage like the Great Sword with a few simple moves. Unlike the Great Sword though, the hammer is surprisingly mobile. It's not too hard to bonk a few times, dodge a quick attack from one area, and then start bonking on the next area, and then repeat. This is an easy way to get into using the weapon. Otherwise, it's mostly just about charging it up for more damage and keep the hits coming so your target stays a bit stunned as much as possible. The downside of the hammer is that it does not have the ability to guard from attacks, so you gotta stay on the move. For an early player trying to learn the wound system and how stun damage works, I don't think you can ask for a better starter than the hammer. The next great starter weapon is the lance. Now when I brought up a tank build with the Great Sword, I purposely didn't say it's the best for a tank build because that honor goes to the lance. If dodging isn't your thing, then you want to start with the lance. The lance is able to take a lot of hits without budging. You can stay in your defense stance and take most of the hits that a monster dishes out and remain completely unscathed. The attack from the lance is quick and effective too, so you're not likely to get caught in a combo and open yourself up to a lot of damage for very long. A lot of guard, guard, guard guard, poke, guard, counterattack, over and over again. I will say that the lance doesn't allow for a whole lot of variety though in how you play. With enough armor combos, I guess anything can happen, but in general you're going to be a force that gets up close and personal with the monster and takes hits. The lance is meant to be like an annoying pest that the monster can't get rid of. That's you. You are the pest poking over and over. There are some high damage combos you can get off with this weapon too, if timed out well enough. Obviously with all the extra guarding, mobility is very limited, but that's really no problem unless the monster is about to do something crazy that you can't block. Although typically it's obvious that that's coming and you can get out of the way. One thing to keep in mind with the lance is that healing can be a real pain in the ass. That's because you have to put the whole shield away slowly before you can use items. So if you need to use one in a pinch in the middle of battle, that could be tough. Best to try to get item use in while the monster is going to another area. But this is another really simple and effective weapon that wouldn't take a beginner long to learn. Just stay on guard. Now the next two weapons are a little bit more complicated, but if you're a beginner looking for a little bit more of a challenge, here's two weapons I would recommend. First off, the dual blades. The dual blades turns you into a crazy mad slasher of a monster hunter, basically. You're constantly flying around the monster doing cuts with your daggers. Dual blades gives a beginner a chance to practice with different modes like demon and archdemon mode. These two modes make you do more damage and move around even faster. This is where dual blades can get extremely fun, just running around crazy like a demon, slashing away at the monster. This comes with a major downside though, because it's easy to get carried away in the slashing and get stuck in a combo and leave yourself wide open to attack. So it's important to pay attention to the monster while you're slashing away and don't get lost in the bloodlust. The dual blades are a great starter weapon for someone who loves mobility above all else and wants dodging to be their thing, because you can't get much faster than dual blades. Increased speed and evasion abilities are ideal for dual blade armor pair-ups for obvious reasons, and you could also increase defense through armor for those moments where you might get trapped in a combo. As an added bonus, there aren't many things cooler in the game than the focus strike attack that dual blades does and how satisfying it is to pull it off. You're gonna like that one. An important point about the dual blades is the demon gauge. This is off on the far left of the screen and could get easily mistaken for the weapon sharpness, which is right next to it. The demon gauge is filled up by landing attacks while in demon mode. If the gauge is full, you will enter archdemon mode, instead of simply exiting demon mode to return to normal. While in archdemon mode, the demon gauge will deplete as you perform boosted attacks, and then when it runs out, you will exit archdemon mode. If you can master that part of the weapon, you will basically master the weapon. So a bit more of a complicated weapon if a newcomer is looking for more of a challenge to their build. The last weapon is actually the weapon I've always mained in Monster Hunter, the bow. Like I said, the bow is a little complicated for a beginner, but as far as the ranged weapons are concerned, it's definitely the easiest one to start with. So if you don't want to get up in a monster's face while fighting, then the bow is what you want to be going with as a beginner. The bow has a good bit of different ways to fight, especially in wilds. You could get up close and personal with the quick shot, power shot, and thousand dragons, or you could fight at a distance with the dragon piercer, arc shots, and tracer shots. So the bow does have a lot of different options for a player to use. The tracer shot is an interesting addition in this game too, so you can put the tracer on a wound and then no matter where you shoot it will hit that, which could make it nice since you wouldn't even have to aim. The bow is also very mobile for a long range weapon, making it a good choice even in solo hunts. I personally really enjoy using the arc shot and then holding down the focus strike to lock in all the arrows that hit and blowing them all up. It's just satisfying and fun. So there are a lot of different mechanics involved with the bow, which could make it a little overwhelming for a new player, but unlike the bow guns and other range stuff, you can at least use some mobility to survive while you're trying to figure it out. I also prefer the bow when it comes to fighting in a group as an ideal support weapon. So if you're in a group of players, especially if the others are more experienced than you, that would be an ideal time to get good with the bow because your friends can take the aggro away from you and you'll be great at supporting them from a distance. Bows also come with a trick arrow gauge, which is similar to the dual blades demon gauge in that successful dodges and attacks will charge it up, and this will allow you to use tracer arrows as well as coatings against the monsters. Coatings are also a good practice to use first before getting into the ammo that you use with bow guns. Practicing with different forms of coating and different effects can be a great way to get into it, from poison to paralysis to sleep coatings, all kinds of different things that you can try against monsters. So a little bit more complicated with the bow, but if you're looking to get into long range weapons, you should definitely start here. Alright guys, so that's 6 weapons that I think are most ideal for a newcomer starting out. If you have your own ideas of what weapons are best for a newcomer to the game, please let me know in the comment section down below. Or if you just want to let me know what you main in this game and why, feel free to throw that in there as well. Or really anything else about the video you want to let us know, please do so in the comments. If this helped you and you enjoyed it, please smash the like button for us, it would be very appreciated. And subscribe to us if you haven't done so already to stay in touch with us, and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And I will see you in the next video.